Hey Cancer, so this is your Mercury Retrograde reading. First, we have a card from the Soul's Journey lesson deck, basically encompassing the lesson that Mercury Retrograde is going to be teaching you. The first position is showing the energy when Mercury first goes retrograde at 4 degrees of Taurus on April 9th. The center energy is when Mercury conjuncts the Sun at 0 degrees of Taurus on 4/19. And then the outcome when Mercury goes direct on May 3rd at 24 degrees of Aries, and it will be conjunct Uranus. So, Cancer, your lesson for Mercury retrograde is empathy. I am open to seeing both sides of the situation. And before I even pulled these cards, the message I got right away was, Cancer, I know you're sensitive, and because of your sensitivity, you're always going to choose doing less and saying less if it keeps you safe, right? Don't tell me otherwise, because that's the truth. Cancer wants to sit, and this is so funny. When I started to sit down to shuffle, I sat like this, and I was like, I can't shuffle like this. But I felt like the words "get comfortable" came to me. Because I did all the other signs so far. I just have to do the water signs, and Cancer, you're the first water sign. But I just told myself, get comfortable. So, excuse me. So, Cancer, one, you need to get comfortable with the real state of empathy. Because to truly, I know you're really sensitive, Cancer. I know you're highly sensitive. However, to truly express empathy means we have to be willing to hold space for another person and not feel like they're attacking us all the time. Because Cancer will do anything and everything. You guys, you know yourself. You just want to feel safe, and you just want to feel secure, and you just want to feel like, everything is all good. Emotionally, like at an emotional level, you want to feel that secure all the time. And if you want that, you also have to be willing to give that to other people. So if you want to feel so emotionally safe that you're not afraid to be vulnerable, then you have to have empathy and create space for another person to reflect that back to you. Because if you're not giving people the space for them to be vulnerable without you, snipping your claws and hiding in your shell, then how do you expect other people to create space for you to feel comfortable and feel safe? Okay? With that being said, these two cards demanded that they came out together, and obviously they're in order. So we have the Judgment and the World. So obviously, Cancer, you're assessing karma and being given the opportunity to completely end a cycle. So if you have been in a cycle for a while, Cancer, where you aren't seeing the other side of the situation, and literally that's all I'm feeling, straight up, the only thing that's stopping you from clearing this karma and seeing it from a detached level, because that's the thing with the Judgment card, they have taken the emotional stuff out of it. Because you cannot really assess where you've been and what has transpired unless you come up out of your feelings. So by extending empathy to another, even if people hurt us, we have to extend them empathy. Because empathy is a willingness to say, I feel you. Not I understand you or that I'm condoning what you've done, but I feel you. So if you need, in order to free yourself, Cancer, you have to free other people. So you can't hold on to judgments and karma and also expect to finish something huge like the World. Okay? Because it took you a really long time to get here. And all you need to do to finish is be empathetic to other people. It's treat people how you want to be treated, Cancer, basically. That's the message that I'm getting. And when the Sun hits Mercury, we have the Four of Wands. So again, I feel like your willingness to step back out of your shell, out of your feelings, and really see how your karma and your actions, not the actions of other people, but also the role that you have played in it, how that has come full circle. You will then see that you have a lot of ground to stand on, and there's a lot for you to be proud of, and there's a lot for you to celebrate. Because more than celebration, this card to me is a happy home. And not in like a familial sense, like, oh, like, I have my wife and I have my kids and whatever, but these two people in the center, I mean, technically I think they're getting married, but there's these people like mixing in the back. This is just like good times. Like, this is a place that you can call home, that you feel safe and secure there. So if you've maybe been having issues like in your home or with the people that you live with, where you feel like they don't understand you or they're just not getting where you're coming from, extend them some empathy, because you can quickly bring your foundation into harmony. And when Mercury goes direct, well, we have your card, Cancer, a card of victory, a card of moving forward, a card of, manifesting what you want by keeping both parts of yourself in alignment. Because that's the beautiful thing about the Chariot too, is you have to take the dark with the light. You have to have both. And his belt is covered in the zodiac signs, right? Well, not exactly, but that's the way I look at it. I look at it as a victory because you're willing to use all elements. Like, the element of water is behind him, as if he crossed over this bridge, right? Crossing over your feelings, crossing onto new territory, because you were willing to let your shadow shine, or let this other person's situation be weighed out just like yours. If you want people to have empathy extended to you and be courteous of your feelings, then you have to be willing to feel what other people feel and really be responsible for bringing harmony into your environment. And when you take responsibility for being the person that brings in the harmony, you are successful and you are your best you. Because anytime I pull like the zodiac's card sign, so like if I pull Virgo, if I'm doing Virgo and I pull Hermit, or if I'm doing Aquarius and I pull the Star, I always think of it as like, well, you're embodying your truest energy. So Mercury retrograde is giving you a chance, Cancer, to come into your truest you and have the victory that you've been wanting. Okay? But it first requires you to honor the exact thing that you're always craving from other people, but you're also too afraid to give it. And that's empathy. Okay? So do not be afraid to extend the love that you wish people gave you. If that makes sense? Because until we're out in the world like doing and embodying love, right? Because love is an embodiment. It's a state of being. So until you're willing to embody it and really look at how you've been responsible for your own karma, right? Because if we don't ever take ownership of our actions, Spirit is not going to bestow victory upon us. But this is a very dope reading, Cancer, okay? This is very auspicious and dope. You just need to give people the empathy that you crave, okay? I'll be back when Taurus season is rolling in around 420, 422 with May's readings. I may possibly come back before to do a quick love reading, a Venus goes direct love reading, but I'm not sure yet. All right. Peace. Hey, Scorpio. What's up? So this is your Mercury retrograde reading. The top card is basically the lesson from the Soul's Journey lesson deck that Mercury retrograde is bringing you. The first card basically embodies the energy when Mercury goes retrograde at 4 degrees of Taurus on April 9th. The center energies is essentially the center, like the middle of Mercury retrograde. Excuse me, when the sun conjuncts Mercury retrograde at 0 degrees of Taurus on 4/19. And the final outcome card is when Mercury goes direct at 24 degrees of Aries, conjunct Uranus on May 3rd. So, Scorpio, the overall theme for Mercury retrograde is balance. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. So, first and foremost, this is saying that our idea of perfect is basically irrelevant to an extent. Like, because we live in a world with other human beings, and other human beings have their own agendas and their own ideas and their own desires and their own passions that drive them, and we cannot control what they do, and we also cannot use their actions as a reason to look down upon them. Even if in our infinite wisdom, Scorpio, we know that what they're doing does not serve them. But we can't we can't be everyone's, mother. We can't demand people live a certain type of way. So what you're being asked to do and what you're getting information on during this Mercury retrograde, Scorpio, is really how to bring your world into harmony without trying to demand other people act differently. Okay, that's the message that I'm getting. Because we start off with the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords is always self-created. Okay? This is never anything beyond a state of victimization, a state of feeling like I cannot change my surroundings, a state of feeling like I am bound to the world that I'm living in. I'm bound to my scenario. And if you look, she is in the water. So she's like kind of in her feelings, but and the swords aren't. The swords are all in earth. So it's like I've taken my thoughts and barricaded myself into my emotions. And she's all tied up. So but she did that to herself. And I mean, that's just, nobody wants to feel this way, Scorpio. Nobody wants to feel like they have to do the most to get their world into alignment with what they want, right? So this is like, I feel like, obviously you guys know I'm a Scorpio moon. And, I feel like Scorpio in general lately has just been having a lot of things going on in their life that makes them feel like, oh, what the fuck? Like, like every time something happens, like something else happens. And it's just like, God damn it. But that isn't the issue as much as how you're reacting to it beyond that. So it's like, it's okay to be like, damn, this really freaking sucks. Like, I don't want to deal with it and then move on. But if you're like dwelling on it and it ruins your entire day, and then you spend the next 3 days talking about how bad Monday was, and then now it's Thursday and you perpetuated what Monday's shit pile was into Thursday, and now something else happens on Thursday because we're perpetuating that energy. You know what I'm saying? You know exactly what I'm saying. But this is woe is me. Oh my gosh, my life sucks. Like, why am I here? Why am I stuck here? But what you're learning is that, again, to bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, I can do so without judgment. So when Mercury hits the sun, 419, we're all into Taurus season. Look at this combo, guys. Like, legit, these cards popped out together. They were dead serious. And like, now when you see the Two of Cups, the Ace of Cups, this is romantic in my opinion. Okay? This is romantic. So for those of you that have been in a relationship, this is saying there's an opportunity to rejuvenate the relationship and bring it back into harmony by not judging our partner's actions and just like letting love in, Because I feel like it doesn't have to be as bad as it's been, basically. That's how I'm feeling. It doesn't have to be as bad as it's been. This could also be love coming through another person, a new relationship, a new offer that fills up our cup. Also, by getting this information from Mercury, by Mercury going through our psyche, making us realize that we don't have to be bound to this scenario and that we can bring harmony in love to ourselves and the world around us, because again, I was explaining to another sign that the Two of Cups is a relationship in general. So it's you and spirit, you and money, you and your job, you and your passions. So you have a new opportunity here, because obviously it's Mercury retrograde. So anything that you're hearing and seeing, I never encourage people to start something brand new. However, you are from source, from spirit, being given a resurgence in your relationships to reharmonize them, especially with authority figures. So I want to say mothers, fathers, employers, if you're in school, deans, or things like that. And also, the Emperor to me is always just something very strong and something very real. So by you setting yourself free and realizing that balance comes from a state of inner harmony and letting love flow through you and filling up your cup first, because this woman has, like, her emotions, like, they're trickling in. You know what I mean? She's barricaded herself so much in her thoughts and so much in what she has or doesn't have that she can't even get access besides her little toe. So you need to let that cup run it over, baby. Let that shit flow. Let the love flow. Let it all run over you and just make you realize that projecting your pain onto other people or your irritation, no matter how much it is justified, like, because that's another thing too. Like, sometimes we get stuck in this situation because it's like, ugh, like, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and I want to talk about it, and I have the right to bitch about it, and you do. But just know where that leaves you. So when you allow the love to flow through and you're not judging yourself and judging the things that are happening to you, and you're just saying, you know what, Spirit, let it rush over me. Let it wash over me. You're being given something that you can really build upon. You're given something that requires responsibility. And you're also taking responsibility for the fact that your old unharmonious life was created by you. And that whatever discord was happening in your relationship also was caused simply by your state of mind. Because the Emperor to me is like an energy that's here to stay, an energy that is very firm, and something that, I mean, look at his throne is made of stone, and he has very little water back here, very little water. So this is all fire. This is all in red. Red is always the root chakra to me. This is something very rooted and very real. So once you free yourself, Scorpio, from this idea that you do not have control over what happens to you, or rather even that you have to like micromanage your reality, is going to be shattered once you realize that, like, not only has love always been there for you in your relationships, but there is more coming. And we don't have to control other people to get love. We just need to stop judging what is happening in our life and just step back. Because, like, Scorpio, you're so psychic. Obviously, like I said, I have a Scorpio moon in the 3rd house. Like, it's the house of communication. So we're so psychic. We're so psychic. But I know that even though we want this more than anything, we do this to ourselves before we get it almost every freaking time. God forbid we believe that love can really get offered to us in a nice way through another person without us, psychically tuning and doing all this extra stuff. Okay? But this is requiring faith. All right? I keep looking at the part of this balance card that says, do so without judgment. Do so without judgment. Do so without judgment. And I just look at that as like, don't, like, whatever comes to you, Scorpio, don't be like, oh no, that's not what I said I wanted. That doesn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. That's not what I want right now. Like, just let it come. Because it's Mercury retrograde. So if it leaves, like, right? We know, because we're smart, and we tune into astrology, it's not about rejecting it because Mercury retrograde or rejecting it because you judge how it looks and then entrapping yourself. It's more of just being like, you know what? Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to have new love flow into my life through another person that brings me a more clear, grounded awareness of how I feel and what I want in relationship, and allow that to create a new level of responsibility, taking responsibility for yourself, what you bring to relationships, and then in turn, what you can get out of them. Yep, I think that's it. All right, Scorpio, I love you all. I should be back around 420, 422 doing the May readings. I may also be doing a quick Venus Goes Direct love reading too, but I'm not quite sure yet. All right, love you. Peace. Hey Pisces, what's up? So here's your Mercury retrograde reading. We are using the Soul's Journey lesson cards to give an overall theme of what lesson Mercury retrograde is teaching you. The first, it was supposed to be a single card, but two wanted to come up for you, is when Mercury goes retrograde on April 9th at 4 degrees of Taurus. The next card is when Mercury is at its like midpoint of retrograding, when it hits 0 degrees of Taurus conjunct the sun on 4/19. And then the outcome card when Mercury goes direct at 24 degrees of Aries conjunct Uranus on May 3rd. So Pisces, your card is guilt. I release any belief that no longer assists in my soul growth. And I'm like 87% sure that's the card that Virgo got. So this is obviously an access thing. You know, Virgo, Pisces, we are truly opposites, but I feel like what we're about, like at a very, very, very deep level is similar, right? Because Virgo is all about service and like really serving humanity to a point that is almost self-sacrificial, and Virgo has to learn how to not self-sacrifice while simultaneously serving spirit and serving the collective, whereas Pisces automatically is serving the collective just by, or rather, not the collective. Pisces is always serving spirit and in tune with spirit and in tune with the unconscious in the much more broad cosmic thing. But with that comes a lot of guilt. Because I think what people don't talk about with psychic abilities or being empathic or being tuned in, there's a lot of like existential guilt that you're not doing enough, and that, or maybe you're doing too little, like you know for a fact you're doing too little and you're starting to feel guilty, but the vibration of guilt does not further expand our being. You know, it holds us back. So you're being asked during Mercury retrograde to release any beliefs that no longer assist in your growth. And I don't typically read reversals. Like I don't shuffle in a way where I get reversals, but somehow this card got reversed in the deck, so I'm going to read it as such. So your present energy when Mercury goes retrograde is the 5 of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So I'm looking at this as like, this could be you or could be done to you, Pisces, but I'm looking at this as like, there has been some type of like mental battles. This could be like a physical argument with words, or like you going back and forth in your head on what is for you and what is not for you. But most likely, straight up, this is an argument with somebody that you either said whatever you wanted to say in that moment to get your way, and the other people walked away because you basically, because the 5 of Swords is a cheap win, like a low blow. Like this guy has his 3 swords because he pulled some shady moves, and with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, you know, this is a block. So you could be feeling guilty over this argument, whatever disagreement you had with somebody, that you did whatever you could to cover your own ass. Okay? Or you could be the one in the background that dropped your sword and said, you know what, forget it. Because you're dealing with somebody that more than anything just wants to be right. Or they want to feel like they're right. They just want to win. They just want to feel like they've won. But in turn, that only leaves us creating more karma. So that goes for both scenarios. If you are doing something that is not 120% in alignment with your truest self, you are generating karma. So if you're out here like throwing words around or throwing thoughts, right? Let's be honest, Pisces, you're super psychic. The Five of Swords could be you sending like really nasty thoughts to somebody, and that causes you to kind of have a downward turn in the wheel of karma. All right? There's also a level of stagnation with this card. And because these cards add up to 6, I'm feeling like this has to deal with not getting like what you want out of a situation. So whether you are not giving somebody else the amount that they're asking for, or you're not getting what you feel you deserve, or both. It could be both too. Like that person's telling you, I don't feel fulfilled and you're not giving me enough and blah, 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 blah. And you just don't want to hear it. You just want to check out Pisces style. Like, and you're just like, well, you say whatever just to shut them up. Okay? That's blocking you. Because ultimately, you have a really big heart, Pisces, so you feel guilty. You feel guilty about your actions. And now, Queen of Swords. Now it's time to get real and get clear. Get real, get clear. Okay? The wind is blowing in the background of her. I was saying how in the King of Swords, the wind is not blowing. So, the wind is still blowing with her. And what is that? For real, for a second, this part of her bracelet looked like a mala to me. So for those of you that have been thinking about buying a mala or buying some type of spiritual jewelry that you feel like you've been needing, go get it. Go get it. For real. And for some reason, I feel like that applies to men more than women. Take that as you will. So the Queen of Swords is not in her feelings, okay? She's making very clear, sound judgments. She's logical and she's detached. So you are getting clear on either how your actions have not been in favor of your soul's evolution of perpetuating yourself to a higher plane of existence, or how other people have been creating that, giving that energy to you. Releasing the guilt around that by getting clear on what you really want, what you really mean as well, Pisces. I feel like this is saying like you have to be honest about what you really want and what you really think in a situation and say that. Don't just say whatever to get out of the conversation. That's what I'm feeling like it is. Not necessarily like you're saying something bad or mean or cruel. It's like you're saying whatever to get out of this argument. However, ultimately you're not being honest. Because even if like what you're like, okay, so you say something to the person, right, that just gets the argument to end. And it's not that you don't mean it, but it's not like truly sincere. You're just saying it because you're like, I don't want to have this argument anymore. That's not serving either of you, okay? The wheel's downturned, okay? So you have this power player, the one that's going to perpetuate you forward, because this is like the Sphinx. This is like the Sphinx that's from the Chariot, and he has a sword in his hand. He's on the bottom of the wheel. So that to me means no progress and no clarity. This is just tomfoolery, basically. And you feel guilty. You feel guilty, so you need to get clear. You need to get up out of your feelings. You need to stop worrying about hurting other people's feelings and just be honest. Be honest, Pisces. And then you will be rewarded. You will realize that you have been giving away your energy or creating more karma for yourself that has you weighed down, and you were not able before to feel abundant, to feel prosperous, to feel like you're able to birth whatever you want in your life. So now, this energy was like draining and disabling you. Okay. And in some ways, maybe even enabling you. Like somebody else was telling you what you wanted to hear. And they come through and they're honest with you. And maybe you were both lying to each other, telling each other what you wanted to hear, and that both had you feeling guilty. And then suddenly we have a conversation and we get clear and we're like, oh, you know what? I can go forward and make whatever I want. I can go forward and birth whatever I desire. Because the Empress can create anything. Anything. She has the power, almost like the magician, to birth anything. Except this is a very feminine, receptive, powerful energy. She sits on her throne of luxury knowing that she is so fertile to bring life to anything. So you've either were giving your power away through conversation or through not being honest, Pisces. And whatever guilt you had for just telling somebody what they wanted to hear, or for, it's just, I feel like you've been having encounters with people that are not, that are just not perpetuating your highest good. And you're getting clear on those. And when you get clear and Mercury goes direct, you come into your power. You come into the ability to manifest whatever you want. So that's a really dope message for Mercury retrograde, okay? You're going to clear up whatever has just been shady and not really authentic. So I love you all. I should be back around 420, 422 with your May readings. And I may be back sooner with a Venus goes direct love reading. I'm not sure yet though. All right, Pisces. Love ya.